Hello, welcome to Band T-Shirts with Leah. I'm Leah, and you might be thinking, shouldn't you be wearing a band t-shirt? And you're absolutely right. This is not a band t-shirt, and I should be wearing one. However, the t-shirt that I'm going to wear today has most of the detail on the back, so I want to show you that first and then put it on, and then we can carry on this conversation the way that I imagined it would be, which is me wearing a band t-shirt. Anyway, I'm hoping that this is the first episode in what will become an ongoing series where I go through my collection of band t-shirts that I've collected over the years. Caveat there being that sometimes they're t-shirts, but there's also going to be some singlets, some hats and beanies, and also a bandana, because I found out I've got a bandana too. Maybe even a headband. I don't know. We'll see what we find as we go through the collection, I guess. Talk about the shows themselves, the artist, the experience, and really, I mean, just anything that comes on. Oh, and of course, the detail of the t-shirt. Otherwise, it wouldn't be called band t-shirts, would it? It would be called, I went to a concert and this is my story. Although that's not very catchy, I admit that one would need to be workshopped. So let's get cracking. So the first one we're going to start with is the most recent one, and I thought I should do this because some of the t-shirts in my collection are quite old, and I'm really having to trawl my memory bank to go through the experience, I guess, and bring up what that was like. But if I do this one, which was the most recent artist I saw, it should be much fresher in my mind, and I think that will be very helpful. So on February the 9th, I went to Laneway in the Adelaide Parklands to see Stormzy. Now, Laneway is a festival, and it has, obviously, like all festivals do, multiple artists on the lineup. But I went to go see Stormzy, and we're going to talk about the experience, I guess, the lead up to the day itself. But we're going to quickly talk about the t-shirt first. Well, not quickly. We're going to talk about the t-shirt first, because then I can put it on and really set the vibe. Okay, so this is the t-shirt. It is, I'm going to call it a crew. Now, I looked that up, and I'm pretty sure this is a crew. I don't know how well it's showing up on screen, but it is definitely, it's not white. You can tell I'm putting next to my teeth. No, that's a bad, I'm not putting it next to my teeth. But it's not cream either. It's darker than that. There's definitely colour to it, but I wouldn't call it like brown or beige. I feel like it's a light ecru. It has neon orange writing on it, and again, it looks a little bit washed out at first. I'm just trying to get it closer so you can see that it is a bright orange. It's quite nice, and it says this is what I mean, which is the name of Stormzy's 2022 album, and on the side it also has his, like the oh my god, I nearly said the set list, but that's incorrect. It has the track list on there as well, and obviously it says Stormzy too. Now, it is pretty nice, obviously, and there was, I think, 3 different tops to choose from. There was this one, a black one that was almost exactly the same, but it was, instead of the black and orange writing, it had white writing on it, and there was a long sleeved version of a t-shirt that was probably, I'd say that one was more cream. It was a bit lighter, but you didn't really need a long sleeve t-shirt. I am from the era that still very strongly believes that a long sleeve t-shirt under a t-shirt means that you like music, and I don't care if that's not the trend. That is still true. So if I get a t-shirt, it's more versatile, right? I can layer it, so it's fine. Anyway, here it is. Just one more look. It's pretty nice, right? Anyway, I'm going to put it on, and then I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to talk about Laneway in general, but Stormzy in particular. Alright, I'm back, and I'm in the t-shirt. You can see here that it says Stormzy, and underneath it says 2024. When I buy a t-shirt, when I've gone to see a band or an artist, I do like it if the t-shirt has the reference on it. I like it if it has, either the place or the date, well, actually both of those in combination, or at least a time reference. So this is good. I'm happy this has a time reference on it, because then you can kind of keep things in a nice chronology. It's also helpful if you see the same band or artist more than one time, and I have done that with a few different artists, so I have multiple t-shirts of the same people, so it's good that I can remember which t-shirt came from which show. So here it is. Ecru, right? I mean, that's what we're going with. when I got my ticket to Laneway last year, I didn't really spend a lot of time finding out what everyone else was doing. I just looked at it and I thought, you know what, I want to go to that. I want to see Stormzy, so I'm going. If other people end up going, that's great. If they don't, I'll go by myself. I'll deal with it. But I don't know if this happens to you, but when you're trying to organise something and people are either like, yeah, but they don't actually commit to it, or they're like, I'm just going to wait and see, or I've got something else on, I'm just going to find out, and, you know, whatever the reasons are. But then, when it comes time to going, you don't actually get to go because you never organised it, or it's sold out. So I only got my ticket just by myself, and I thought, whatever happens, happens. But when I was talking, was caught up with my family for a dinner, and I asked my niece, my oldest niece, whether they were going to Laneway or not. And she said she didn't know. She hadn't looked at the lineup yet. So anyway, she starts looking at it. And then she goes, I only know a couple of people on this lineup too. And then she said to me, even I'm too old for this lineup. Even I'm too old. And she's younger than me. So she's too old for it. Like, obviously I am too old for it. Not really, but you know what I'm saying. Rough. I decided I was going. I went. It turns out nobody else was going. That was fine. I went by myself. I thought if you can't handle your own company for a couple of hours, you're in some real trouble. Also, for about an hour of that, you don't really want to talk to anyone anyway, because you only want to listen to one man, and that's Stormzy. So, you know, going by yourself isn't too bad. And also the alternative is not going, and I'm not going to not go. No, too many negatives in that, but either way, I'm not going to not go. So, like we just said, or like I said a little while ago, that Laneway is a festival, and I have not been to a festival for some time. I was actually trying to figure out when the last one I went was, and it was a big day out in 2014, which, you know, that's like 10 years ago. I was looking at the lineup for the last Soundwave, which was in 2015, and it's a decent lineup, so I couldn't figure out why I didn't go that year, but I think it's because in general Soundwave could be kind of a shit show. It was like, not the lineup, the musicians that came out, they were fine, they were great, not fine, great. Just the way that things were, sometimes you'd be standing in a spot and you could hear like multiple stages at once, and I think we'd kind of been spoiled by having the big day out at the showgrounds, because you had really defined areas, and so the sound didn't overlap, and it was just, I don't know, just felt a bit smoother, to be honest. And I think actually the last time that I went to a Soundwave, one of the artists that I'd really wanted to see, the sound was terrible and it just cut out, and I had never seen them before, and I have not seen them since, and I barely saw them that day because the sound cut out, and they just couldn't continue playing. Just to a very like acoustic set. We all moved in real close. No, we just never saw a full set. So that was not great. And you know, I mean, sound is so important at a festival. If you go to a festival for music, if you go to hang out with your friends, if you go to be seen, if you go to take photos at a Ferris wheel, sound maybe isn't that important to you. But if you also go to, you maybe enjoy all of those side things, but if you go to see live music and enjoy live music, the sound is critical. So I think that's why I didn't go anyway. So here we are in the 10-year gap in between my last festival and this festival. And festivals are just such a fun thing to be a part of, particularly when you're young, you know, like you're going with all of your friends. It's a rite of passage. It's really kind of one of those earliest tastes of freedom that you get, because you have the whole day to yourselves, doing whatever you want, you know, listening to the music that you love, planning your outfit in advance, like doing all of those things, like to get ready for it, and then having the whole day itself, and then having, you know, the 50,000 discussions that you have afterwards about the day and how everything went. And it's just such a fun time. It really is a rite of passage, I think. And you know, we've been lucky in Australia when I was a kid, because we had the big day out, and it was such an amazing festival. It was really one of my most favourite summer memories. I probably went to, I don't know, 13 or 15 of them, and they have merged into one massive day now. It's not one big day out, it was one massive day out, but that it was just such a good time, and I always just had such a positive feeling when I look back at that time, like how I saw so many bands, and I spent time with so many different friends, and it's just such a great time. And, you know, if you're a young person and you haven't been to a festival yet, try to find one that, you know, aligns with the type of music you like or your friends like. Multi-genre ones are great in that sense if you all like different types of things, but if you can find a specific one that appeals to you, we do that too. But also, if you're an older person, if you've never been to a festival yet, it's not only for young people, right? You can absolutely still get into it. You know, I went. I'm not the young people. So this was a very young crowd. I would say, I mean, I would put the average age or the most common age probably between like 18 and 23, which again I don't have a problem with, because like I just said, festivals are a rite of passage for young people. It's such a fun time, and I think people should just get into it. In the lead up to Laneway here, I'm seeing Stormzy. He's making some content while he's in Australia, which is very exciting. I see that he gets like, oh, what looks like a very delicious fish finger sandwich, and then when I'm watching, I'm like, I want a fish finger sandwich too. I mean, I haven't made one yet, but still, I want one too. One of the things in the email that we got said you needed to have ID to get in, or you should have your ID ready. Anyway, I get to the entry point, and this guy checks my ID, in which, by the way, they're not checking everyone's ID. He checks my ID and he looks at it and he's like, it's obviously me, dude. I don't even know why you're taking so long to look at this. Also, it's very clear that I'm not under 16. This is an over 16 festival and I'm not under 16. I'm also very clearly over 18. So if you're checking because you want to give me a wristband to buy alcohol, then I'm very clearly over 18. Anyway, he's not even the person who scans the ticket or gives out the wristband. He's just standing there like, dude, I'm obviously over 16. You can let me in. I think I'm pretty good, right? Then I go and buy my t-shirt. This one, obviously. In case you're wondering, I think it was $60. But, you know, it is what it is, right? It's actually pretty good quality. It is a decently thick t-shirt, so that was nice. Then I go and fill up my water bottle because I might have been a while between festivals, but I'm a seasoned festival goer and I know that you need water. So I took a drink bottle in with me, empty as per the rules, and then filled it up at the water station because I don't really like to use single-use plastic when I can avoid it. And this was absolutely a situation where I could plan a little bit ahead and avoid it. Oh yeah, and I did take a little bit of footage on my phone just to, you know, as I was watching different acts, and I don't know how great it is and I don't know how well it's going to mash into this stuff here, so if it works I'll add it in as I'm talking about different things, but if it doesn't I won't, because, you know, like I mean I literally just took it on my phone and it was nighttime, so I mean you can imagine how great the quality is. Also, oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure in one of them I'm singing so bad. So bad. Obviously I'm never sharing that one. But anyway, lesson learned. Because I wasn't as familiar with the lineup, I did go to work during the day, so I probably didn't get to the grounds till about 6:30. And that was fine because I got in there just in time to see Confidence Man, who I wasn't really familiar with, but you know, I started watching them. They were pretty fun, like pretty high energy. Their costumes are really great and they had good graphics on their screen. It's also a shame they kind of weren't playing at nighttime, because I think it would have been a really good nighttime feel with the, you know, because they had kind of lighting effects on their clothes as well, and they were very high energy and they were making full use of the stage. And that would have been, I just think it would have been fun to have been able to see it at nighttime, but it doesn't really get dark proper in Australia till pretty late in like this part of summer, so there's no way we can have everybody playing at like 9 o'clock, because even at 8 o'clock it's only kind of grey dark, it's not dark. So anyway, they were pretty good, like pretty fun. As an aside, while I was at Confidence Man, or about that time, I quickly ducked to the toilet. And like I said, as a seasoned festival goer, I was prepared. I had taken like extra serviettes or napkins or whatever, because they always run out of toilet paper. And I had taken hand sanitizer because you don't always know when you're going to get soap. Anyway, go in. It's Portaloos, which are always a bit gross because it's a Portaloo, but they're clean. And they have toilet paper and they have soap. I'm like, this is a surprise. Also, it's fairly well organised and smooth the way that people are going in and out, and then I see that there is a person who is cleaning the toilets and restocking them while we're in the queue, while we're waiting to go, and I think, oh, I see. Young people have a much higher expectation for this type of crowd care than what we had when we were going. Like, it was filthy when I went. Anyway, I had to go to the toilet a bit later on, and that was no longer the situation. It was absolutely, they were feral. It had no toilet paper. You couldn't use a sink because there was crapple in it, and yeah, it was not a great time. But luckily, again, I had my own toilet paper, and I also had hand sanitizer. I did manage to wash my hands even though the sink was not in a great condition, and I did take my own toilet paper and I did have hand sanitizer, but I could not see any cleaners around again at that time. And to be fair, I don't blame them. It was getting pretty feral, like even the lineup situation, it was pretty hectic and it was not a good time, and I don't blame them for not taking care of it. But I thought, oh yes, this is bringing back some memories. This is what festival life is like. So after Confidence Man, I went and kind of sat a bit in the communal space that's in between the two staging areas. There is 3 stages, but it's split across 2 stages. So one of the smaller stage is kind of to the right, and then you keep going through, and then at the back is the 2 major stages. So then they're side by side, and that allows them, as you know, to just flick between artists while they set up each stage. So I just was kind of sitting in the kind of communal space in between, and you could hear what was happening at the main stage when you were sitting there, so that was fine. I did enter that staging area during Steve Lacey's set because I thought, you know, I'll just get a little bit of a closer look, and also, you know, being closer, the sound is going to be better, so I'll get a better idea of what he actually sounds like. And it wasn't until his last song that I was like, oh, wait, no, I know who this is. I know, I'm sorry, okay, I don't know everything. I'm pretty decent with knowing a reasonable amount of music, but I don't know everything. But I did know that song, and I did go like that, oh, yeah. But also, the whole crowd was pretty into it, and everybody was singing, so that was pretty great. It was Bad Habit, in case you're curious what he closed with, and everyone was singing along, and it was a lot of fun. So Stormzy is the last person on the lineup. So let's go Steve Lacey and then Stormzy. So he's the last one. I'm on the Stormzy side. I did stand over on the Steve Lacey side for a little bit, but then I moved over to Stormzy when it was getting closer to his set starting. And you know, because again, he was primarily who I was there to see. And I did think to myself, you should make a set list when you go to gigs, because when people ask you afterwards, what did they play? And you're like this, ooh, they played this, and they played that, I don't know. I forgot. I can't give you a comprehensive set list. Also, we live in a digital age. If you really want to know, you can look it up yourself, and then you'll see what he played, and then you won't need to rely on someone like me who's unreliable in this sense. And one, I will forget what I was doing, that it was my intention to write down the song, so I might start strong and then just finish very poorly. Or I might forget that was my intention at all and not start and finish strong. You don't know. You don't know what you're going to get, but it's not going to be great. So you might as well just look it up online and have it like that. So it's time for Stormzy to start, and he comes out on, and there's big lights shooting out from the stage across the skyline over the crowd, and there's these flames, like huge massive flames, like shooting up from the front of the stage, like very orange and really high. It looks very spectacular. It's very exciting. Everyone's super pumped at this stage, because I think it was almost 10 o'clock. Yeah, so it was quite dark by then, which is good, because then you're getting the full effect of the light show, which is really good, because his stage was very well set up. There's great graphic design on there, great lighting, the flames, you know, it was pretty great.
It helps. It's good for events like these. I
Wow. And then, you know, out comes Stormzy, and luckily, he's so tall, which is so great, because he's like 2 meters tall, and he works the front of the stage, really, and the whole front of the stage. So, you know, everyone who's in that area is going to get to see him. Even me, and I'm just barely above average female height. So even I can see Stormzy for parts, even though I do have to do a bit of this. I can't see, but because he's so tall and because he works the front of the stage, you do get to see him, and that's really great. I did end up moving about probably halfway through the set because after a while I couldn't see him anymore because there was, as the set wears on, more and more people come into the crowd and you start to press closer and closer, and now you're just seeing the back of people's heads or t-shirts. So I did move back and then I could see him fine again. He has great stage presence though, so you're seeing him, and like I said, you're seeing him work the stage. You see like the crowd's getting super hype. It's just a really great time. So I'll just get in and, just try to remember a few songs, even though it was actually only a couple of weeks ago that I went. But look, sorry. He did play Own It, which was really great. It was a bit of a good sing along with that. Did Toxic Trait, which was really good. I love Toxic Trait as well because it always makes me think, I wonder what my toxic trait is. Oh, I say that as if there's only one, but I mean, like, I wonder what my defining toxic trait is, and then like kind of what my other toxic, lesser toxic traits are, and how toxic are they, and we're looking at a scale of toxicness. But anyway, it's pretty great. He does The Weekend, and this has a more defined distinction between the male and female audience, because of course there is that very prevalent part of The Weekend, which is a female singing part, a little bit sexy singing part, and obviously the women in the crowd are all singing that part, because why wouldn't you? Who doesn't want to duet with Stormzy? Who? No one. Everyone does. Everyone wants to get on board with that. Anyway, so that was a very high percentage of female singing, male singing, female singing. Yeah. And at this point as well, you can feel like the energy is building in the crowd. We're getting towards the end of the set. You're getting towards the end of it, but you kind of don't want it to, but you can feel that the energy of the crowd is building. So in the last 4 songs, he finishes with Clash. And I'm listening to that and I'm like, oh, of course, I'm Jordan 1s, right? Of course. Here's my Jordan 1s, actually. Aren't they so beautiful? Yeah, they're perfectly white on white on white. And they're practically pristine, even though I've had them for over 2 years. And that is because Jordan 1s are actually probably a little bit too flat for me to wear. So maybe I am Jordan 4s, because it's obviously a different design. Might be a thicker or slightly different sole. Maybe I need to get some 4s and then I'll know for sure. Sneakers is probably one of my toxic traits, to be honest. Collecting them. I don't have as many as some people. I wouldn't say I'm a full-on sneakerhead with hundreds of pairs of sneakers, but I mean, I have more than a person with only 2 feet needs. Then he did Shut Up, Oi, great. So good. Incredibly high singing participation in that song, because if you know the song and you love it, of course you're going to sing along in the Shut Up. But even if you don't know it, because of that repetition, you can just get on board and sing along with it too. Anyway, great. Blinded, he does Blinded by Your Grace, which is a pretty great second last song. Actually, at this time though, probably seems like it might be the final song, because he was allocated an hour set and we're getting towards the end of that hour. But it's such a good song anyway, because it's got like a really great, like a very strong gospel vibe to it. It's very dramatic. And then about halfway through, they shoot off these cannons with heaps of confetti spewing out of them all over the crowd. And it looks pretty. And the Stormzy, with his hands out. It looks so great anyway. And it was really, I enjoyed it very much. But he did finish with Vossi Bop, and that went off. There was a girl who was and her boyfriend who was snaking through just before he started this last song, and when the intro started, oh mate, she lost it. She turned around and screamed, and she jumped really high off the ground, and because she was so excited, obviously, that she hadn't missed it, that they were there, and she hadn't missed it, and her boyfriend just scooped in and was like, put her straight on his shoulders, and then they just disappeared off into the crowd. But she was pumped. Oh, yeah, the whole crowd was there. You can feel, you know, when you can feel the crowd moving together. That is what happened in that song. It was so good. It was such a great finish, and it was a very strong finish as well. But that did mean then that Stormzy played for about an hour and 5 minutes, which is a pretty standard festival set, I think. I mean, it depends how big your lineup is, and it depends how many headliners you have, and then how they work out how that starts. Because if you've got 3 headliners, you can't be giving them an hour and a half, because then one of those headliners is starting too early, and then I imagine some politics around importance start to play in that, right? You see that sort of thing all the time. You used to see it a lot more when people were like, had been announced, and then someone else got announced, and then someone withdrew because of some sort of situation between them. But an hour is not unusual. Sometimes we would get hour and a half sets at the big day out at the end when they only had 2 headliners, but usually it was about an hour or just over an hour. But that makes sense. So if you think that early in the day you get those kind of 30 to 35 minute sets, and you go into 40 to 45 minutes, and then you go into an hour for your headlines. So, I mean, obviously I would have enjoyed more than an hour, but, well, I could technically got more than an hour, but an hour is still pretty great. Stormzy is cool. I mean, I thought that before I saw him. I thought that when I obviously listening to his music, seeing him on doing promotional stuff for his work, and then seeing like filmed live versions of him before. Like, he's cool. He's very cool. I like that he is very English in his tone and his language. I think that it's such a... I mean, I listen to lots of different genres of music, and I really appreciate the differences in language, not just in actual language, but how we use language differently, and in accents. It's all of those things that come together. It's that accent, content, and vernacular, and Stormzy really presents that very London vibe of, you know, what he says and how he says it. And then you listen to him and he's talking about, you know, like Boris and Jeremy Corbyn, puts him in that very English context. You also get oh my days. I also love it when people say in it, like it's Stormzy in it, it's Friday in it, it's Leah in it. I love that. It's one of the things I do love to hear very much. Yeah, and so the last couple of weeks I've been thinking about that difference in language, and then that reminded me of the streets. So then I had to listen to original pirate material, and also actually when I was on Spotify I found a live version of that he'd done. It's almost, I'd say it's pretty close to the whole album, at around the time that it was released, and that's really great too, because, you know, it's live. He doesn't like live. You get those little differences, right? But it's that same thing, the way that it's not just that how he sounds, it's the way that he uses language. And when he talks about, you know, we say birds, not bitches, and, you know, geezers need excitement, because geezers isn't really a term you're going to hear really outside of that regional area. Even in Australia, we have pretty strong influence from like both America and the UK, well, I guess in this sense Britain particularly, but also from the wider UK. We don't really use geezers a lot either. I used to work with a guy who was from Manchester, like his family came from Manchester. I understand that's a different region. And but he would always used to call me our kid. Like, here she is, our kid, which I always really liked. It's a very affectionate term. It's usually reserved for siblings, but I guess because in that sense I was like the young sibling of our work gang. And so yeah, he would always say that to me, our kid, here she is, our kid. I just think that Stormzy seems like a good person. Like, he seems like he'd be a lot of fun based on the energy and whatever that he brings to shows and the way that he performs. But he also seems like he's a pretty good person. He performed earlier this year at the Artist for Aid, which was a fundraiser for the humanitarian crisis in Gaza and Sudan. Obviously, causes that need a lot of support right now, and not just financial support, but vocal support, and he's doing that. The next day, I did have to YouTube his set at Glastonbury, because I just thought, mate, I need to see some more of this Stormzy. 1 hour and 5 minutes is obviously not enough, and Glastonbury is a bucket list festival for me. It just seems like such a great experience. The crowd is huge, and when I was watching, I mean, the crowd is really into it, and it's such a big crowd, and I just think it would be so. I think it'd be so amazing. I've never been to a festival outside of Australia, so I think that's, you know, another element as well, experiencing something outside of what you're used to in your own comfort zone. I mean, obviously I'm not going to get to see Stormzy there, but and obviously I'll still see someone good. I follow this content creator on YouTube called Grackle. Her name is Grace, but her ID is Grackle. And she drinks hot water. And she doesn't drink like coffee, soft drink, alcohol, anything like that. Her drink of choice is hot water. And I think she drinks Oasis. I don't know what Oasis is, but I'm guessing it's not carbonated, but I have no idea what it is. But anyway, she doesn't drink all these things. She just drinks hot water. And so in the morning, if she's doing like an average day, or what I eat in a day, so there's like cereal and hot water, toast and hot water, because she doesn't drink those other, more traditional breakfast beverages. And I follow her on Instagram too, and she posted a reel not that long ago where she was saying she must have done a TikTok talking about drinking hot water, and how Stormzy had commented underneath it that he was drinking hot water too. And I was like, yeah, because I drink hot water as well, and my family laugh at me about it, because if it gets to about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I can't have caffeine, and sometimes you just can't keep drinking cold water, right? It's just a bit boring. Or it's a cold day and you need something to warm you up, but I can't have any more coffee. Anyway, and when my family and I were talking about it, this time it was my youngest niece. She said to me, oh yeah, my residents do that. They drink hot water as well. My residents. At the time, she was working at a nursing home. And then, of course, everybody laughed, because here I am drinking hot water in the afternoon like all of her residents. Anyway, Grace is younger than me. Stormzy is younger than me. And I'm not younger than me, but we all drink hot water, and we're not for the retirement village either. So thank goodness. Thank goodness for cracking Stormzy. Close out this conversation on Stormzy. I guess I'd say that my 2 favourite Stormzy songs are Hide and Seek. I like it. I think it's a very smooth song. For me, I'm a repeat listener to songs. I can just play the song back to back. And I find that one, it's very easy for me to just play it back to back, because it's very smooth and it's just sounds very nice. But I also like One Take Freestyle, because I also like Angry Things. That song is aggressive and angry, and I like that too. I thought it might be fun to finish off these episodes talking about an artist that I either wish I'd seen or I'd still like to see, and that will vary depending on, I guess, their current circumstance. So an artist that I would still like to see is Craig David. I just think he was such, like, he's English as well, but he just had like that. When Born to Do It came out, and Sicker Than Your Average, they were immensely popular in Australia. And I remember at one point when I had to get a little bit of dental work done, and I would take in my Walkman with Craig David and listen to that, just get used to going to the dentist again. I'm fine now, I can go without any aids, but yeah, I used to listen to it then. But also Born to Do It in particular, crank that a lot on road trips, because there's so many singable songs on it. Like when you're listening to it, you want to sing along as well. So if you got like Fill Me In, Follow Me, 7 Days, like, come on, Walking Away. Oh, I love Walking Away. I always think that sometimes when I'm leaving work, just walking away from the troubles in my life. I'm not going to sing, because none of us really need to hear that right now. I mean, I love singing and I wish I was really good at it, but I'm not. Anyway, hopefully I'll get to see Craig David one day, maybe in Australia, maybe overseas. I'd love to go to a show overseas. I've never done that either. I've only ever seen stuff here in Australia. I shouldn't say only, again, that's not. I've only had a great time here in Australia, but I'd also like to have a great time outside of Australia. So hopefully one day I'll get to see Craig David. And so here we are now at the end of the episode. So thank you for joining me today for Band T-Shirts with Leah. This is a Band T-shirt, this is Leah, and this is goodbye. Bye.